a mouth-watering prospect that is. I'm Nigel Henderson, and along with me today, the Hoff Bear. You can't ever get rid of him. He's always there. He's eternal, really. And down in the depths of Cape Town, beautiful, sunny, wonderful Cape Town, Antoinette Muller. Hello, people.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Well, I think we should turn to you straight away, Ant, and say, what is the mood like in the South African camp? Because, let's face it, that India tour was a bit of a disaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was shambolic, and I think from the start they were just so mentally scarred when that first test in Mohali happened, and they just haven't been able to recover from that scarring. So I think quite a few guys are probably a bit low on confidence at the moment. They had that grinding out there in Nagpur in that final session, but that's not really going to erase however many 70 days of torment or however long it was. It felt like forever. So I think there's some. It's cautious. I think they're cautious. Let's use that word.
Cautious.
Yes.
Is there some optimism that back on their own pitches, back in their own backyard, that they will be a different prospect?
Yes, of course there is. But there's also over the weekend, quite a few of the guys played first-class cricket, which most of them haven't done in ages. But it was diabolical. Only one scored a half century, Tema Bavuma. The rest were absolutely appalling again. And guys like Stian van Zyl got a start, didn't build on it. Dean Elgar, I think he scored a duck and 11 or something stupid, and Hashim Amla, same story. So, I mean, when you can't even get runs against domestic bowlers, and that's gonna, knock your confidence just a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, the score in the latest tour match, I mean, we've scored plenty of runs in both these matches. And there was 5 internationals in the latest side. I don't know if they're all going to play in the first test, but they're getting hammered. I don't know I haven't seen the score today, but 132 all out, was it? Not good.
Yeah. England actually, they have won now. I can't remember by how much, but they've won quite significantly. So, I mean, none of the guys who are on that match will play from the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, it's just everything just seems to be going wrong for them at the moment, and it's not like they're bereft of talent. They're all talented, amazing batsmen. It's just things just aren't clicking at the moment, it seems.
Do you think this is the problem, though? I mean, South Africa play. I mean, apart from the Test series in India, when was the last time you played a Test series before that? I've got a couple of South Africans at my club, and they always complain that South Africa never play enough Tests. And if I remember rightly, when we went over there the last time, when we drew that series with those great Graham Onions sort of last over survivals. In the first, didn't we beat you in the first test, or it was close to beating you in the first test? And it was partly because exactly the same thing happened then. There wasn't a lot of first-class cricket played by the side. They were very rusty, and it puts you immediately on the back foot in a home series.
Yeah, of course it does, which is why they let the guys go back and play first-class cricket now. But the scheduling was also a bit cockeyed for me. So there's only one round of matches before the Test series. So if you knew that there was such an important series coming up, why didn't you wrangle the scheduling a bit? And then they say, oh, but we can only play our T20 series in this time window. I'm like, well, I don't care. Like, make a plan and get guys playing cricket and just get them some game time, The previous series before India was in Bangladesh, which was basically rained out. And they also saw their backsides a bit in that too. So before that, it was West Indies. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. They're just not playing enough, long format stuff. But then again, you can make the counter argument that they play so much limited overs cricket, and most of the guys do cross over Test and limited overs. So the skills that you have in those games can be transferred if you just apply your brain. And I think this is a psychological thing more than a time in the middle thing.
That's a good point, Ant. I mean, because I was looking at the figures for the India Test and also then for the India One Day Internationals, and we saw someone like du Plessis getting runs in the one-day series, didn't we? He got quite a lot of runs. So you tend to think, well, he's out of form, but he's obviously feeling the bat on the ball because he's got big scores in that form of cricket.
Yeah.
Oh, we seem to have lost Ant. Are you there, Ant?
We've lost Ant. It's a disaster.
South African connections, we've been told.
Oh.
I didn't think that...
No.
Am I back?
Yeah.
I didn't think that the Mohali pitch in the first test had anything drastically wrong with it. Yeah, okay, there was a bit of tin, but it never ever turned square. So people who were completely having a wobbly about it, I thought was quite foolish. But South Africa were guilty in that first test of playing the...
We've lost her again.
We've lost her again. Come back. Calling Ant. Earth to Ant.
Hello? Am I
Hello,
back?
you sure you...
Yes, you're here.
Okay. I apologise for African internet.
Yeah.
I was trying to say I don't think the Mohali pitch was terrible, and I think they were guilty of playing the conditions and the perception of the bowlers rather than actually playing the bowlers on their merits, and they were just so completely scarred that everything just went bleh. So.
Well, I mean, I have a big thing about this South African side. Look, in days gone past, the last time you came to England, you beat us, and I think that, it was a 3-match series, and we had to go out in that last test, and 2-0 was a bit sort of, I think, one-sided, and it didn't show the true nature of the two sides. I think they're not too far apart. However, having lost Graham Smith and Jack Callis, AB de Villiers I fear, and I fear Amla, but I don't see anyone else in that top 7 of the South Africa side that I fear, and I think England are going out. I think Cook said beforehand he was quite optimistic that they might find South Africa on the back foot, and this could be an interesting series. I can't predict a result. I'm always an optimist, and I always think that England could win. I do think that we'll probably lose 1, but I'm kind of hoping we'll get a 2-1 result here for England.
I'd like to say to Ant, on that note, we've got a lot of new names for the South Africa team. Certainly people that people in England won't necessarily be familiar with. What can you tell us about those? I mean, particularly Kagiso Rabada. I mean, he's supposed to be the new 20 years old. He's lightning fast by all accounts. What is the press on him in South Africa at the moment?
Well, it's all very positive. He maybe not so much in England, but certainly last year he basically helped South Africa to the Under-19 World Cup final. He took 6 for something ridiculous against Australia in the semi-final, and he was just fast-tracked into the system because he is so freakishly talented. Like, not only does he have pace, but he's got control of that pace. So he can bowl fast, but he can also control how he bowls fast. So there's a lot of expectation on him, but also, and I suppose with South African cricket and South African sport in general, you have to sort of extra expectation on any young black guy who does well, because we've so struggled to produce black cricketers. So it's a very fine line that we have to toe between, yes, he's an extremely talented bowler, oh crap, he's also a black talented bowler, let's not break him and push him through the system too early because he is still very young. He's actually got scoliosis, so he's going to have to be managed very, very carefully if we want him to have a long career, which I think we obviously do, because he's one of those Dale Steyn type bowlers to watch. Great action, just beautiful for people who love fast bowling.
Well, I should say also there's absolutely a fantastic interview with him in today's Times, which is the 22nd of December. So if you want to go to the website and get behind the paywall, you can read about that. He sounds like he's really got an old head on young shoulders as well. I mean, he talks very well about his situation, the way he came through, and I must admit that I sort of, having read that piece, I was automatically wanting him to do well. Will he play, do you think? Or there's Abbott, of course, putting in a fairly good claim from, I think, the final test in India. Abbott hasn't let South Africa down at all, has he?
Yes.
That was a great question, but Ant has frozen down in the heat of Cape Town. Ant has frozen. Hello, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, African incident. I got everything except for will he play? Considering you said something.
Yeah. Well, will he play, or will they bring in or keep Kyle Abbott, who's done reasonably well in India and has done pretty well whenever I've watched him? Is there room for both of those?
Well, if I was a selector, I would not play Dale Steyn in Durban, because what's going to happen in Durban, it's going to rain, it's going to be annoying, considering his struggle with injuries. They say he's fit, but just for in case, just keep him wrapped in cotton a bit. Play Abbott on his home ground. He's done very well in India. Morne Morkel's been an absolute machine. And then play Rabada and a spinner, because there will be some turn in Durban. And then, just slot Kagiso in, maybe up in Joburg again, when they'll probably go all pace, because there's no point playing a spinner on those tracks on the high field, because the ball just flies. But I think for Durban, if I was in charge of making a choice, I wouldn't play Dale. If you ask Dale, do you want to play? I'll be like, yeah, I want to play every game for South Africa. But where he is in his career, it's a bit of a risk. You know, you don't want to like manage people, but it's just he's continuously seemingly struggling with little things, and you don't want Dale staying injured on Centurion or Wanderers because those tracks are made for him. So, yeah, I think Kagiso will play. If not in Durban, then probably up in the Highveld.
Why are we playing at Durban so early in the series? I mean, I was in Durban in '95 in the early part of December, and it pissed down for 3 days. We barely got a match at all. If it was further towards the end of the series, would the weather in Durban be better by then?
No, it wouldn't, because it's tropical climate and it rains all summer, like pretty much all the time, basically. The Durban sort of mantra is have cricket, will rain. And the joke that follows the Dolphins around is if you have a drought anyway, send the Dolphins to go play there because the rain will actually follow them. And it'll all rain there too. It's just one of those rotational things. You know, we had the test in PE last year where it wasn't supposed to rain, and then it rained, and now it's back in Durban where we know it's going to rain. So, yeah. But then again, with South Africa's complete and utter ineptitude towards spin, if we get 3 days, that's enough for England to actually win.
I was just going to say that.
You've got Marianelli who took a sixth in the warm-up game, so at least getting in there. You don't even need to be a good spinner. You can play Samit Patel, who'll probably take 10 wickets. That's how completely scarred South Africa seem to be against spin at the moment.
Well, it's always nice to see a supporter of another side to be so down on their own nation as
usually you, Hendo.
I am really. But let's move on and talk about England, especially the new batting lineup that we're likely to see. Alex Hales looks like he's nailed on that opening spot, and Nick Compton says he wants to bat at 3. What do you think we're going to see from that, Bear? Is it going to make a lot of difference? Are we going to miss Ian Bell?
I don't think we're going to miss Ian Bell. He's a bit out of form. I think someone can sit in. I'm really not sure about this. Is Hales opening? I don't see anything in his technique that inspires me to think that he's going to be a quality Test opener. I think, to be fair, a lot of the English bowlers, having played in the UAE, they're going to enjoy playing on harder, faster wickets. I think any batsman in the world prefers to play on a wicket that the ball comes through to you, and it might suit his technique better, is what I'm thinking. Is probably what they're thinking, is he likes to hit hard shots, he plays through the blind of the ball's going to come onto the bat. If he's got a chance anywhere, it's going to be here, not the UAE, that he's going to succeed. And so they want to put him in, and they want to give him a try. There's been a lot of talk in the media, Hales should open. I don't tend to agree with it. I'm quite happy for him to have a shot. I think Compton has looked pretty solid during the warm-up so far. And therefore, if Hales fails, I think they'll go to Compton to open, and then they'll probably either put Balance back in or move Taylor up to 3. That's
important, Charlie, because we could end up in that situation that we kind of had before. Cook and we had Trott at the top of the order together. If you have Cook and you have Compton and then you have Balance, that's a fairly negative top 3, isn't it, Ant?
Well, we've got no voice now.
Sorry, that was me muting my microphone, so my sucking my vape doesn't put me on the main screen. But yes, I was interested. I think the reason they probably chose Hales is because he's way more attacking than Cook. Because you can't have Compton and Cook just batting for a day and then scoring 100 runs between them maybe. And I suppose it's also a part of your newfound unstep-footed cricket approach where you're allowed to actually go out and have fun and speak your mind a bit instead of following this cookie-cutter way that seemed to have emerged during the Mood Hoover era.
Yeah, I must say as well, I mean, having a look at the scorecard, Stokes seems to enjoy himself out there, doesn't he? Was it 160 he scored in one innings? He scored 60 odd the other day. He looks like he's going to enjoy himself out there, which is good to see. And you can't expect that from him. He's an attacking batsman, likes the ball coming on again, and I don't think he's going to have any problems out there. I'm quite happy with the top order. The top 3 is always dodgy, but you've got Cook, and they're going to find they're going to solve the problem eventually at number 2, and either of those two could go number 3. So I'm not too worried about England's top order. I think we could lose a couple of early wickets. I've seen the scorecards, and we seem to have lost early wickets in all the matches and still gone on to score 460. It'll be different against a Test attack, obviously, but I'm pretty confident we can get runs. It's whether we'll take the wickets.
The good thing is that both sides' openers are absolutely crap at the moment. So at least you've got one good opener for England. Whatever happens after that, both sides are just they're struggling with that dynamic at the moment.
I must admit, I'm always happy to see Dean Elgar opening the batting for South Africa. Ever since I saw him to start with, I never saw anything that made me believe that this bloke was even a professional cricketer, let alone a Test cricketer. Maybe that's harsh, and maybe he's improved. Is he going to open with Bavuma? Is it going to be Bavuma up there still?
No, it's going to be Van Zyl and Elgar at the top. So
right, okay.
Van Zyl, Elgar, and then probably Hashim at 3. I would hope if logic serves them, and then Faf, and then AB might float with him keeping wicket. He might drop down the order. Bavuma and Duminy coming in a bit earlier.
See, Duminy, I don't rate Duminy, never have rated Duminy, especially at Test cricket. Last time we were bloody hopeless. He seems to score runs when I'm not watching him, but it's much like Mitchell Johnson used to bowl well when I never watched him, but he was always shit against England, and I kind of feel the same about du Plessis. And Duminy as well, to be fair. Of course, we got Finn coming back in the bowling order. He suddenly made himself available. He's got fit, and he looks quite a handful too. So it's going to be a good series.
Let's talk about the pitches then. There's been a lot of talk about various countries doctoring the pitches, giving an advantage to their own sides, especially most recently in India. And what sort of pitches can we expect? What are the differences in the pitches in the various centres that we're going to be playing in?
Yeah, well, South Africa are never going to, against a side like England, go completely extreme in terms of the pitches, because that will benefit England's bowlers too. So Durban will probably have a bit of turn, so not too much, but just a little bit. Cape Town will be a good test wicket, it always is. I'm willing to wager that it will go 5 days at Cape Town. Maybe not into the final session of day 5, but Cape Town will go 5 days. And then obviously the Highveld, Centurion and Wanderers are always quick, always pacey. With the altitude, allegedly, that helps. That's what people always say. Whether that's actually true or not, nobody's actually done a scientific study, I don't think, but it's always a bit quicker up there, and it's always more beneficial to the fast bowlers. So I think good cricket wickets with, if you like, good fast bowling, seeing a bit more of that.
And we're going to be talking to you quite a bit during the series. You're actually going to be at the grounds, aren't you, presumably for the Maverick or someone like that?
Yes, well, I'll be writing for whoever pays me, really. And also, somebody we're going to have your commentary on. So, theSouthAfrican.com is one of the publications I write for, and we'll be hosting your commentary, and I'll be doing sort of daily little blurbs for them and for Bleacher Report as well as Daily Maverick. I'm going to every single test except for Durban, because as a freelancer, I have to pay my own way. And I couldn't risk going to Durban and knowing that I won't make my money back going there for however long it is. So Cape Town, Centurion, Wanderers will be at Durban. I will be talking to you, eating a ham sandwich probably at some point.
Excellent. Nice.
And will Max be providing you with a regular supply of fresh vegetables?
Yeah, well, we've got some cherry tomatoes that are just coming into bloom, and they're ready to pick in the next few days. We harvested some green peppers and some lovely jalapenos recently. We've got some habaneros that are sort of starting to grow, but they've still got a way to go. So yes, Max will keep me full and healthy in supply of some lovely summer vegetables.
Well, we should just have a prediction before we go. I mean, I usually like to ask for a crazy prediction as well as a sensible one. What's your sensible prediction? What's your gut feeling on this, Ant? Are South Africa going to hold on in their own country?
Yeah, like Nige said earlier, it's such a tricky one to predict. And I don't even have a gut feel. I think probably maybe 2-1 to South Africa. I think they'll take advantage of the pitches up in Centurion and the Wanderers more than England are able to.
Right.
And I think Durban will not have a result, and Cape Town, they might lose because it's going to be long, grinding stuff, and they haven't quite been able to do that recently, aside from one session in Nagpur.
Bear, I mean, we always know that you're an eternal optimist, but can you see England doing it down there?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go the optimistic call. I'm going to go the opposite of Ant. I'm going to go 2-1 England. I think there won't be a result in Durban, like she said. Yeah, well, I'm kind of, although there's a little part of me thinks that if South Africa are so undercooked, and there is only 2.5, 3 days play, we might just get a result just because South Africa are so undercooked. But we shall see. But generally, I'm thinking I'm not scared of the South African side. I think we're more prepared, and I'm an optimist. So I'm going 2-1 England.
Well, it's very strange. You don't often find it that it's the away side or the touring side that's the one that's overcooked and the home team undercooked. But that is the way of things. It's been great to chat to both of you. It's great to see into the inner sanctum of Ant Muller, and I understand that you haven't eaten Max. He is still alive. And it's great as ever to talk to the Bear. We should say that Guerrilla Cricket will be on air at about 8:15. We say 8:15 GMT on Saturday morning, but
it'll be 6:45, Hendo, because the first test starts at 8 o'clock over here.
The first test is 8 o'clock, so it's even
earlier.
earlier.
The other tests start at 8.
So we're going to be 7:45.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh dear, I'm going to be exhausted. All that and Christmas as well. Thanks very much, guys. We will all talk and take part in some interesting discussion as the series progresses.
Okay. Stay on air, Ants.